So, hello everyone, and welcome back to Fugitive Chefs podcast. This is a podcast about chefs and food people who have walked away from traditional kitchens to create something freer, more meaningful, and often something which is more connected to people and their place. In today's case, we have Andres Jara. So, Andres, first of all, welcome to the podcast.
Furqan, thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here and to share a little bit more about the story and a little bit of what we have been doing.
Yeah, and exactly that's what we're looking forward to, right? And actually, Andres comes recommended from one of our listeners. If you're listening, Emma, from Near Farms, and Emma told me a little about what Andres does. And it was very interesting to me. I think it's a great, I think, philosophy behind this kind of project that Andres has taken upon, and we'll hear more about it. But from what I know, Andres is the founder of Fava Mole. It's a project which is, if I understand correctly, is rethinking the food from the ground up. So something which isn't just product development; it's actually thinking behind what all goes behind a product, and from someone who knows a little more about, say, byproducts and the whole story of how to create a product from the ground up. And I also know is that Andres is somebody who has stepped outside the classical chef career path to build something that, for me, I think it blends not only food but also culture, creativity, and sustainability, being one of the strong pillars, I think, of your project. And today's idea is to just listen to Andres' story. How did he end up into what he does today? How was his past with the kitchen? And what kind of suggestions does he have for people who also maybe have something similar to connect with? So I think before we like deep dive into all of this, Andres, first of all, just tell me, like, how did you end up in kitchen? Like, what was your first memory of food? What was your earliest connection? And when did you think that this is going to be your career, sort of?
It's a great question. So everything started when I was really young. I have this memory of my grandmother always cooking and providing food for us, and also for taking food to school. When I woke up, there was always breakfast, and you could already feel the smell of
Mm.
lunch.
And where is
So
this?
that
Is
was
Colombia, right, Andres?
this is Cartagena, Colombia. Yes, in
Wow.
the Caribbean. So yeah, very warm
What's
over there.
breakfast like? What does breakfast smell like in Colombia? I mean,
Depends. My grandmother is from Medellin, so over there it's like they eat a lot of arepas, so it's like a cornbread, flatbread, and then for her it's like that and cheese, like or like primosale, like something in Italian that we call, or like just like a fresh cheese with some butter, some eggs, some milk. But
Mhm.
then also, over there in Cartagena and in the Atlantic coast, the culture there is a lot of fried food. So you
Mm.
start the morning really, really like fry empanadas or like fry arepas as well, or like something that we call arepa de huevo. That is like
Oh,
a
I love
double,
that. I love it.
like
I remember some interns showing me in Mugaritz how to make it, like frying it, then opening, make the pocket, putting the egg inside. Oh, it's amazing.
it's like double deep fried
Yeah.
egg egg arepas. It's wonderful. It's delicious. It's also quite heavy.
Hmm.
But we also have this in Cartagena and in Barranquilla, those both cities that I grew up when I was a child, because of all the African influence from
Mm.
the Spanish colonization. So like it's also a melting pot of flavors and wonderful cultures as well.
Hmm.
So that was my first touch with food. Also, my grandmother always feeding us a lot. There was always food, always. And then while growing up, I developed this love for food. And then on weekends I was asking to cook the breakfast for the family, also to like learn how to also cook lunch. And then eventually, my family and my mom started to take me to restaurants. And every time I had the opportunity to choose, I always wanted to go to something that I could see. So an open kitchen. So like a teppanyaki or something in which I could see the action and the chef and the cooks, because that's also something that really always intrigued me. And then I saw that it's an art, but it's an art that is edible. So it's just like it also brings different layers on the whole experience. So then afterwards, when I was in high school, you're speaking about what you're going to study and what you're going to do. And
Right.
then my friends were talking about, lawyers, doctors, etc., etc. And then in my head, it was the only thing that I was thinking is like, I would like not to be behind a computer.
Hmm.
So then I was not really thinking about food.
Hmm.
But then one friend told me like, why don't you study like culinary or like cooking? Because every time we go to like a road trip or we are doing a barbecue or we're going somewhere, you end up cooking for everyone. So
Yeah.
like, why not to try that road? And I was just like, yeah, actually, I didn't really talk about it.
Hmm.
So then I just started. It was quite interesting because I wanted to go to Spain at the very
Okay.
beginning, but
Yeah.
then my family were just like, "Why don't you start here in Colombia and then see if this is really something that you really want to do?"
But I'm
So
curious,
then,
Andres, just to interrupt you over here, but when you said, like you said food is something you connect with, your friends say you cook well, and you have these food memories from nostalgia, from childhood. The first career that comes up to your head, like the closest relatable career to food for you, was it kitchen, or what did you think? Like, what will you do in food?
yeah, for me it was like about cooking. It's
Uh
just
huh.
like just how can we just because cooking really connect us. Like when you like let's put it like this: the room that is always the most hectic and the fullest is the kitchen at any home.
That's true.
Is where the magic happens. Is where everyone gathers. Like you
Mm-hmm.
start like a drink, you start or like a dinner. It's there's always something happening in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's also the same in my house. Like for me, it was just like, okay, something that connects people, brings people together, and is like a celebration because eating is just a celebration. It's also a political act, but it's also a celebration.
Definitely.
So I was just like, okay, how can we, like, what can I do that is actually just connect me to this beautiful feeling of being able to give, to feed people and to share an experience with them. So then I went into Culinary Institute in Bogota. That then
Okay.
I moved to the capital, and then over there I study. I did a program of 2.5 years, then to learn how to, techniques and all the different ways of like Asian cuisine, like grill, like French cuisine,
Mm-hmm.
and doing internships. So it was just submerged fully in the whole experience of cooking. And then I really loved it so much that we had classes from 9 till 5, and then I was there from 9 till 9.
Oh, wow.
And also on Saturdays from like 10 till 5 because there were like workshops, there were different like classes, and we had the opportunity to have professors from outside the university doing workshops in the institute that
Mm-hmm.
were not our professors, and I wanted to learn from them. So I put myself as a volunteer to give a hand in their classes. So I also get more knowledge, and I was just like getting and connecting with more people and getting to know. And that was also the thing that helped me create my first company in Colombia because
Okay.
all of these people that were wanting to learn, they were also wanting eventually to have their own events. And then they were asking
Okay.
some chefs, like, hey, chef, for example, if I would like to do an event and I would like to hire you,
Mm-hmm.
would that be possible? And then they were like, no, not really. I don't do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Andres is really keen, and then he has been working with me for X amount of time. So I can assure you that the quality you will receive with him is like the same as the one
Right.
with me. So that also encouraged me to open my first startup, like my first company in Colombia.
Oh, wow. And that was like how many years? Like it was during your school or just after culinary school?
Yeah, it was just like right at the end of the final year of the
Wow.
culinary school. So I think I
Yeah.
was like what, 21.
Okay. And what did that startup entail? Like, was it like more management? Was it more like selling yourself, or was it just cooking? How was your role in the company?
So, well, I started this. Well, first I was helping, and they also the same chef that I was helping in those classes in the institute. They also
Okay.
took me to their own events. So then I was having more experience to bigger events. They took me to some fairs, to some launchings of some like some of them were like also like ambassadors of meat brands in Colombia. So they took
Mm-hmm.
me to this also to gain experience and to see a little bit of the world of the cooking in this different field. And then over there, it's all about connections and network. So
Mm-hmm.
eventually, when I decided to jump and then do the catering company, at the beginning it was just myself,
Mm-hmm.
and then doing these small dinners. All of this, by the way, aside to conventional working environment in a hotel. So I was
Of
working
course.
in a hotel, and I was having
Mm-hmm.
my shifts. But then when I was off, I was doing these personal caterings. So people in their house, they wanted to have a barbecue or like
Mm-hmm.
experience for 20-25 people, and then eventually, you get paid, you get equipment, you buy more, then you
Mm.
are able to produce more. Then eventually the day happens that two people try to book you for the same day, and then is that the time in which you start thinking, okay, I cannot do that. So then what if we call a friend or someone that I trust, and then we divide and conquer. So
Mm.
then eventually this kind of thing started to happen, and then two became three, and then three six, and
Oh,
then
wow.
eventually after a couple of years we were nine people working, not full time, but then every time we needed hands, and we did
Mhm.
events, and we did quite a lot of interesting events. We also work with like for example pharmaceutical laboratory,
Mhm.
in which they wanted to have like this experience for their customers or for their doctors. So we just did
Okay.
like a culinary experience or a class,
Mhm.
and then we just sat with them like for 2 or 3 hours, and then showed them how to make some different recipes, like some ceviches, tiraditos, or something like this, like to keep them just like to give them an experience to taste something. And then around them there was like the they said the representative of the company talking and doing the business with the people. So it was like a sales experience, but
Yeah.
more focused in the whole experience than just in the hard cold sale.
Okay.
So that was also very, very interesting.
But and what was your drive for all of this? Because I'm very curious. Because somebody who comes out of a culinary school, their first choice possibly is to work in a restaurant. I think it's more safe, more secure, more viable. And from what I know, I mean, I've never been to Colombia, but I know that Colombia has. I mean, Bogota especially. You have Leo, you have El Chato, you have many good restaurants in Bogota, right? So weren't you like curious that maybe I want to, like many people who have these ideas, kind of put these brakes on themselves, like they don't have enough experience, or people will not take me seriously because I'm not old enough, and all these. I bet you had these inhibitions. So what was the drive for you? Was it just seeing that as a requirement, like it's a product market fit, or it was that you did not want to conform to the kind of career people set out for you?
Well, now that you put it like this, I'm always been like a little bit of a rebel.
Yeah.
Mm, and then, yeah, I did my internships, and I did work in the restaurants and high end places.
Mm-hmm.
But then what I experienced is like over there, it was more like always like learning a lot. But then it would have taken quite a longer time to actually be able to do what I really wanted to do. And then while experiencing this with the chef that I was helping in the institute that helped me to build my company, then it was just more like when I was doing the events, I could propose my own ideas and my own like menus. So it
Mm.
was like this way of being able to let flow my creativity and bring flavors of combinations. It was like really, let's say, it was calling me more.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much freedom, right? Like when you're like at the yeah, when you're the captain of the ship and not just somebody who's following. So I think that gives you a lot of creative freedom, I guess.
And then the fact that then these two great chefs, they're also encouraging me and telling like, if you want to do something great, you just hire Andres. He will deliver amazing. So then also this boost of encouragement is just like, okay, I have if he's telling the people that I will do good, then there is trust because he's putting his name on me, telling like, okay, if you hire him, he will deliver. So then it's also on me to like, okay, he's putting a lot of support, and he's giving also a recommendation. At that age, you just like you don't want to put a bad name on him, but you also putting a good name on you.
Like, cool.
Yeah.
And
So
and and how did that progress? Like, how was this transformation of like? I mean, right now you're not in Colombia, so what happened over there with that company? When did you think that it's time to move on from that?
well, then afterwards, I did go to study to Peru. So I did cordon bleu in Lima. So I continue studying because you never end studying. Like I think if you stop studying, then it's let's say,
Definitely.
yeah, you always need to learn or like increase your knowledge because you are your best asset. And
Definitely.
everything you do for yourself is just like the best you could do.
Yeah, it's like an investment in yourself, right? And like, was there something specific that you looked for from this LCB in Lima, or like any direction that you thought that you could get from this place?
Well, over there, yes, over there it was. Then I wanted to go to more into the fine dining to
Hmm.
really increase my uh knowledge in execution of like a fine dining experience, because then at that moment I realized that I have the flavor profile, I have a good talent in doing many things, but then like I could see that plating and like doing more refined things, I could learn more about that. So I went there and I did specialization, no, a master's in chef, no, sorry, in French cuisine,
Okay.
then a master's in Peruvian cuisine, and a specialization on seafood and shellfish of the Pacific Ocean. It was just
Mm.
like wonderful. So over there, it was just to really refine and to improve. Also because Peruvian cuisine, and that was in 2000, when was this? 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. So since then, the Peruvian cuisine has always been like a top level. So I also did over there practices and like internship in what today is one of the best restaurants in South America. It's
Mm-hmm.
Central,
Yeah.
with Virgilio.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was there, just I learned so much. So it was just like a great opportunity. And Peruvian cuisine is just wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
It's delicious, and also with all the combinations. So I stayed there in Lima for I think 1.5 years, almost two.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to Colombia, but in all of this, the catering company was still running and being managed
Wow.
by someone in the team, and also by my sister. So the whole company was still continuing. Then I went back, and then I also went to study in Argentina. So then in Mendoza to study wine and like the beautiful art of doing asado.
Right.
So I've been doing a lot of things, a lot of learning, and then I went
Yeah.
back to Colombia, and then that was the moment in which I really saw this university. So it's the University of Gastronomic Sciences in Italy, in Polenzo,
Mm-hmm.
and then I saw it, and I saw the pensum, and right away did an application. I fall in love with the university,
Mm-hmm.
and then I applied to do a master's in food production and development, and then yeah, I got accepted. So then I started the whole process, studying Italian, improving my English, all these things to do the big jump into Europe. And
Mm-hmm.
it was wonderful. But then at the very end, something happened. Something happened with my documents, with my papers. And then
Mm-hmm.
they told me that I could still do the master, but then just have a certificate of attendance. And I was just like, no, I want a European degree. So they told me like, okay, what you can do basically is like you can swap to the bachelor, and
Mm-hmm.
then if you already got accepted to the master, like we can just put you like from masters to bachelor. You don't have
Okay.
to do exams, applications, or anything. And it's like, okay, so it would be 3.5 years instead of 1.5 years.
Wow.
That at that time I was already 23, almost
Mm-hmm.
turning 24, and I was just like, you know what, screw it, let's go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And now, almost 10 years later, is the best thing I could ever, like the best
Yeah.
decision I could ever made. Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
It's destiny, right? I mean, it's all these changes. And how was your like a family and friends reacting to, like, from exactly, like, for me, what's curious is like when your parents like heard, that you're going to the Culinary Institute of Bogota and like studying over there, and then did they actually think that you would start a catering company from there? And that, from what I hear, your sister's also involved in it, and then you doing all these learnings. What is the reaction of your friends and family about all these different specializations and like kind of twists to the career?
Well, the thing is, like, I have always, now at this age, I'm 35 now, that I don't have a fear of uncertainty. So it's just like, we just go, and then we will figure it out. And we will figure it out because that's what we do. So then this kind of things of like like with that doesn't mean that I didn't have jobs. Like I had jobs, and also the feel of security, and then
Exactly.
the like the salary and all these things. But
Mm-hmm.
then there was always something in me that it was telling me like, okay, this is temporary. This is temporary.
Right. Yeah.
So of course, when I was always traveling, my family always just like, okay, are you coming back? Are you going to stay there? And then it's like, yeah, I'm just enjoying what I'm doing at the moment, like being present. It is also something it has been very important. And also realizing now that if you are a great cook, you can work anywhere in the world, and that's
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened when I arrived in Europe. So, I went to Italy and I started as you arrive to a new continent and you are nobody. Like, even
Definitely.
doesn't matter who you are in where you come from, you arrive with a clean slate.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a student. I started in a pizzeria as a dishwasher.
Mm-hmm.
And in the meantime, I was still also running the company in Colombia.
Wow.
And then, but it was becoming quite challenging because, being like studying, then being the dishwasher, then having all the things, it was just like very, very, very intense. But then, because of like everything happened at the right time, because one day one of the cooks of the pizzeria got sick, and then they
Mm-hmm.
were like, okay, so we need someone to cook, we need someone to come, and then we don't have nobody. And that was the moment it was just like, hey guys, this is the moment I've been waiting for. Like, I can cook. So it's like the dishwasher and everything. Like, I dishwash because, like, it's the job that I can just get. But if you
Exactly.
give me the opportunity, and then I was cooking, and then from that moment on, I went from dishwashing into cooking, and then
Wow.
up, 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 up. So I did cook in some restaurants, also helping some events. And one of the things that I learned the most in Polenzo
Mm-hmm.
is also with the that I forgot to mention that I would like to go back what I learned in Peru with a great chef,
Mm-hmm.
Bernard Duplé. It's that a great chef is not the one that can call for any ingredient to cook, but is the one that cooks and understand what is in their surroundings and make wonderful food with the food of
Mm.
the territory. So it's
Yeah,
like,
super interesting.
who is growing your food? Where is your food coming from? Is it local?
Mm-hmm.
Is it from far away? What is the connection to the territory? And then it's like, okay, that's like, wow, that was very, very insightful and really touched a nerve within me. And it's like, okay, and from there, this is always something that was in my food, like
Mm-hmm.
how to use local ingredients, but with any kind of technique, and just make the local shine in a way which is surprise the people that have been eating
Mm-hmm.
the same food for many, many years.
Yeah. Wow, that's super deep, and I think that connects a lot with what you do today, right? Like, I mean, I think you heard something back there, and I'm very wondering, like, listening to this, and maybe at that point you didn't have the opportunity to maybe like go back to the roots and things like that. But tell us about Fava Mole, because that's for me the main topic on this podcast. Like, how did that idea come up? How did you find an opportunity, and how did you kind of think that this would mean not cooking maybe every day, possibly maybe this will not be the place where you cook every day, and that's what you've been doing through your career, from like also with the switch from dishwasher then to working in restaurants in Italy especially. How was that for you? Were you questioning yourself if this is the right thing, or it was just something natural?
No, well, to tell you, when I finished the university, I managed to land a job as a head chef on an osteria.
Wow.
And for me, that was the moment in which I was just like, okay, I managed to get a head chef position in a Italian restaurant as a foreigner. So that was just like,
That's big.
okay, yeah. And then it was just like, I did that for 2 years. And then the place was amazing. It was like in these hills in Alta Langa, close to Barbaresco, with
Mm-hmm.
the vines and everything, and the vineyards. But then there was also something in me that was just like, okay, now what?
Mm-hmm.
So then it was just like, okay, let's continue. Let's remember what we thought at the beginning. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's continue just getting more knowledge. So it's like, okay, we are in Italy. What we can do? Okay, so I became a butcher.
Okay.
So I did an internship, and then I did my certification working in a farm. And then all of this is connected to Fava Mole. So I'm getting there.
Yeah.
So when I went to this farm in Tuscany around 9, 10 years ago, and I got my certification, we were also able to do pop-up dinners, and we were doing with a really good colleague of mine, Stefan, by the way, love him,
Mm-hmm.
love you, dude. Um, we were doing Meso and South American flavors with all Italian ingredients. So we had access to corn, we had access to lemons, meat, pork, beef, all the different things. And we were doing everything from scratch. So we were just doing like a wonderful experience for people. Since just one day, we were doing like tacos and tostadas and things. And then one of
Mm-hmm.
the customers and one of the people that were eating were just like, guys, I love what you're doing, but we're missing guacamole. They just make us some guacamole.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just like, no, we will not do it because, well, it's not grown in Tuscany. It's like nowadays it's grown in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
But also, to get some avocados, we needed to drive 40 minutes to the city and 40 minutes back, so 80 minutes the round trip. But then at that time it was early June, so fava bean season was full bloom.
Okay.
Okay, wait a second, but we have favas. They're
Mm-hmm.
green. We can double peel them, blanch them, smash them, and dress and like mix them like with all the spices and make like a fava mole. So
Mm-hmm.
it was just like, why not? Let's do fava mole. So we made fava mole and we put it in the pop up, and people loved it. People just went crazy for it. Of course, it's a difference when you do it on small scale and when you do it now at the scale we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But people just couldn't believe that they were eating fava beans instead of guacamole,
Mm-hmm.
of avocado. So then that was the whole beginning of Fava Mole around like 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I didn't know that there was going to be well, now I know that that was just the beginning of it.
Mm-hmm.
So then moving forward the timeline, I moved to the Netherlands because I wanted to open a farm with some friends that we studied in the university.
Mm-hmm.
And then we did this, and then again, when I moved to Amsterdam, we started the project. We were doing it part time, and then part time I went back to the cooking. So I was doing the catering, and I was doing some freelance chef here and there. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was doing mainly the pop ups. Then when the lockdown of the COVID came, I had my friends, neighbors, farmers. They had a lot of surplus products
Okay.
on on risk of being wasted. So we
Mm-hmm.
just decided to add value to this, and then started transforming it, and then putting it into sauces and dips.
Mm.
Also very important to mention, like when I was in this farm in Italy, in Tuscany, I was also doing the products for the farm. So over there is where I learned and mastered the technique of preservation,
Okay.
like to make like the preserve and the jars and the jams and the things.
Mm-hmm.
So then this happened like around 4 or 5 years ago, and then we had our first brand. We start selling door to door to neighbors, to friends, and everything. And then eventually you get into the first shop, second shop, third shop. And we were doing everything organic. We got organic certification. We got into organic supermarket, and also just like learning by doing, learning by screwing.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it was going really well. So we were just like upscaling and everything. But then we were arriving into like bottlenecks because we wanted to work just with specific onions from farmers or specific chilies from these specific farmers. So, when you want to upscale a business, you need like, if you want to outsource your production, then to find the farmer that is working with the production facility that can pre-chop open all the onions. You cannot just do it with like 500 kilos. You need to
Of
do like
course.
tons and tons and tons.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those were one of the challenges that we were facing at that moment.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I was doing both of them, and then last year, after the wettest spring of the decade at the farm,
Mm-hmm.
we saw that one of the things that were growing the best, it was the fava beans.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it was like a message of like, hey, Andres, remember us. We are here. Remember Fava Mole.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, we have also been doing the farm for 70 years. The business is running well. We have a wonderful team, really well structured. So it was just like, okay, this is the time to give it a try. I also
Mm-hmm.
tried again like 4 years before, and it didn't work. But
Mm-hmm.
then last year, um, we actually did an application for a grant,
Okay.
and we got 50,000 euros
Nice.
from the province of South Holland,
Okay.
and supported by the European Union, and
Mm-hmm.
then that gave us the opportunity to develop and the concept and upscale the recipe of fava mole.
Oh wow.
So yeah.
Yeah. And how is it? How is it to see something that you've done at an event? And what kind of challenges do you have when you have, because maybe somebody listening to this podcast is like, okay, I have something similar, like I have done something similar at an event which sold well. How different it is from like creating that and then scaling up and understanding, I don't know, standardizing the kind of fava you're getting in, or the kind of machines you have to use, which then have their own cost and maintenance and understanding how this machine works. So what kind of challenges do you have in scaling this product up?
The challenges, okay, we have quite some challenges, but I like to see challenges as opportunities because
Mm-hmm.
again, we're still doing it the way in which we don't buy from the wholesaler. We buy directly from the farmers. So there's a little bit more challenges on that, but there is also great opportunity because then we know with whom we're working, we know how the crops are being grown, and we know which system we are supporting. And this is one of the key elements for us about like to support regenerative agriculture and sustainable practices. So we work with farmers that we visit, and something that has been really of a great experience or like a great advantage is that because I'm a farmer, let's put it like this, I speak farmer.
Mm-hmm.
So I go with them, and then there is like a quick understanding. And they see like, okay, you know what you're talking about. You know that what is crop rotation, nitrogen fixation, carbon, all the
Yeah.
things. So that
Yeah.
gave us a lot of opportunities. So one of the challenges, of course, is upscaling production. If you
Mm-hmm.
have an idea and you want to make a product, try to think right away on, do you really want to be a production company,
Mm-hmm.
or you want to be, let's say, brand company with a partner that produces for you?
Okay.
That's very important to know from the very beginning. And then also to see that when you scale up your recipe, it will change, and
Mm-hmm.
then you will have to do some not some compromises, but you need to adapt the recipe, because it's not that you multiply your recipe by 10x if you want to do it 10 times bigger, because that's
Exactly.
is not how it works. And then just do batches. Like, we started with doing fava mole 2 kilos, then we went to 4, then we went to 8, then 16, then 32,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Of
on,
course.
so on. Then of course, like, you need to give it a taste, you need to sample it, and you need
Mm-hmm.
to get feedback. And then fortunately the subsidy helped us a lot, because if
Mm-hmm.
not, it's a lot of bootstrapping. But then it's also just how active and how do you really see the dream really happening, and
Mm-hmm.
not just like dreaming it, but also like being active in bringing it.
Mm-hmm.
So then we just went to different places to taste it, to get feedback. We give for free. We partner with some events, and to get feedback and get people to really listen,
Mm-hmm.
to really tell us what they felt when they eat the product. And we got just very, very positive comments. And that was the moment in which it's like, okay, let's just go for it. Now actually I closed the other company, the salsa company, and in the farm I also asking now for, well, I asked already for a sabbatical, like a 1 year, because I'm focusing all my energy in Fava Mole, so I'm doing
Right.
now full time. Now, from the time we started till now, we now also scale up, so we can do now between 800 and 1,000 kilos of fava mole
Okay.
per
Wow.
production. We also partner with one of the biggest guacamole producers in the continent,
Mm-hmm.
and we are working already with 2 wholesalers, and we're also speaking with some retailers as well. So it's just like from an idea that started 9 years ago to
Yeah.
crazy pop-up dinner
Yeah. Yeah.
to an attempt 4 years ago that flop up, to last year when it started, just like with this, of course, all the knowledge and all the different experience from the past is
Yeah,
just
it sounds beautiful,
wonderful.
right? I mean, the journey has to be like for somebody who has done it yourself, I think it has to be very, very immersive to see all these changes. And also how sometimes the idea can be great, but maybe the time is not correct, the place is not correct. But how
Totally.
do you, because this sector is so big, like your segment that you've taken is like this dips and spreads. I feel is just booming, especially with veganism. I think a lot of alternatives, what we were used to, like breads, like the butters and the classics or pates and stuff. There is so much market which wants something different. And of course, guacamole itself is known as a product, so you are replacing something or kind of creating an alternative, which is which people know at least how to use. It's not a lot of education on how to use it at least, or what to combine with it, sort of. But my question is more like a company like yours, like Fava Mole at the moment. I actually have a friend who's also doing a similar company with broccolis, actually from here in Spain, from Alicante. And I wonder for like companies like yours, how competitive is the market? Because of course you also have the big brands doing something similar, or also these white brands from the supermarket chains. How do you think? At what places are you into advantage? Because maybe you are smaller, more controllable. And what points do you feel the other bigger FMCGs have a better edge? I guess.
Actually, there's something great, because some like couple of weeks ago, big company that it's working with beans, they put they put out in the market 3 new spreads based on the lentils, chickpeas, and like white beans.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 friends immediately sent me a message. It's just like, oh, look, they are doing this something.
Mm-hmm.
And then, for a microsecond, I was just like, oh shit. They
Mm,
just like, they are step ahead. They have budget. They are A brands.
of
And then I was
course.
just like, no, wait a second. How can we see this an opportunity? And then I felt like this is actually a great opportunity for us, because they are actually proving that the concept
Mm.
is great.
Yeah.
If an ape brand is already jumping there, that means that the market is open and is ready to do so.
And they're also
So
like
then,
preparing the market for you, no? Because the consumer
yeah,
who's trying that will be more, I guess, open to try your product, I would say.
exactly. So then it's just like for that microsecond, it was just like,
Mm.
yeah, we're late or whatever. And it's like, no, it's actually, if a big company like that is doing this, it's just because they also see the opportunity. And
Mm-hmm.
but then it's also a great opportunity to ask the right questions because, it's one of the things we focus a lot is in local. So our beans, they come from Europe. Our supply chain is European. So we don't import anything from outside of Europe. And this is also something that it's a unique selling point from us. And in that sense, then I ask them like not to be pointing fingers or anything. It's like, hey,
Mm.
then it's great guys what you're doing, but then I just have a question. Where do you source your bean from? Because then it's not about being mean, it's about daring to ask the questions in order to
Mm-hmm.
really have a proper conversation. Because one of the things of the food system is that it's really shady. So it hides behind claims, behind like funny wording in labels, like no sugars added, free from this or that. And then if you really know a little bit or pay attention to it, then it's like, oh wow, this is very, very shady.
Yeah, yeah,
So
no, it's.
then
I mean, I think people who can read labels think they can read labels, but just reading label is not enough because you never know what, I don't know what natural preservative means. Nobody knows it, or what is organic preservative is so different from natural. So why is natural not organic? There's so many questions. Like yesterday, I saw a very interesting post from one of our previous guests, called Wojtek from Slovakia, and he said like, why are people selling organic carrots? Like he hates organic carrots. He said like all carrots should be organic, and the ones which are not organic should be like, I don't know, poisoned carrots or something like
yeah,
that. Like why is all
chemical
this?
carrots.
Yeah, exactly. This is the whole problem with all these brandings. And Andres, like I have a follow-up question for you, because now as somebody who was like, the idea of the podcast was in the beginning to listen to somebody who's coming from culinary school, not just one, going for multiple schools to get trainings, internships, doing a catering company, and all of it kind of being a chef, like being the person who produces food that is immediately, you can serve it to somebody, get that immediate feedback. So it's a very different kind of, I guess, career, because you are gratified immediately once you serve the food. And from that to now, the kind of job do you do? Do you still see yourself as a chef? And that is one question. So do you still see yourself as a chef in this role that you do with Fava Mole? And what part of your chef past helps you in today's business?
I do see myself as chef. Well, I cook every day. So in that sense, yes. I don't cook it now for like commercial, so I don't do that many events. But yeah, once a chef, you're always a chef.
Definitely.
And I also love doing experiments. Like for example, when I go on holiday and I have some time off, I just love fermenting things and
Mm.
doing like sodas or doing things, and then
Mm-hmm.
having just like find an experience for myself and my friends. But then just like we're just there. It's not like it's just there is no stress. It's just super easy going. But then there is time to experiment and to do crazy stuff. So this is very interesting. And for the in the job that I do, yes, there is always food is very important in if you're in the food system,
Mm-hmm.
because now we have the product, and then there is always explaining or show people how can you use your product. And if
Right.
you are a chef, you have already a lot of ideas under the sleeve, or like in your mind, or like the creativity. Or for example, I work a lot behind the computer now.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes if I just wanted to let the creativity flow, then I just go to the kitchen and prepare lunch for the team, or just like, let's do something that is fun. And then we just make it into a video, and then we see we use it or not, or something like this. But then it's also like very nice. Also in farming and cooking, because this is, I think, the two really fields that made Fava Mole what it is today. It's like when I was farming, I was also cooking, and to be able to get to know your food, not just like to have the opportunity to transform an aubergine or like
Mm-hmm.
an eggplant that arrive, but to get to know how the flower looks, that you can eat the young leaf, that you can do something with the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
I see that there's not many. I would love if more chefs have the possibility to become farmers. because that
Definitely.
just gives you an amazing overview and opportunity of like expansion of the things that you can do. For example, we bring some young chefs to the farm, and then when we show them a flower of an aubergine of an eggplant, it's like, hey, what can you recognize this flower? And they say like no. So it's just very important that a chef or a cook is not the one that can transform, but it's also the one that knows. So like every fruit or in this case vegetable that is also a fruit. For example, tomato is a fruit; it's not a vegetable. But yeah, it's first a flower,
Of course.
and then it becomes a fruit. So this is also something that is great to knowledge to have, because everything is connected. And one of the advantages that I have had in this journey is that I went from all the links in the chain, so farming to cooking to butcher to food production to now having the Fava Mole, to be able to translate all the experiences in the different fields in that particular aspect. For example, you can now Fava Mole, the company, as translating the farm experience to the companies. Fava Mole is a tree. It's a young tree of 1 year. So then, let's say if you have an apple tree and then you plant it, then it will not give you many apples, but you still need to take care of the tree. And then like hopefully in couple of years, it's going to give you a couple of apples. But in 10, 15 years, you won't know what to do with all the apples that they will give you. So then it's just like a little bit of like this translated into entrepreneurship is like to have the patience to understand and respect the natural rhythms of nature.
No, I think it's a beautiful journey. I mean, the way you explained it, I mean, it all makes sense, right? I mean, could you have done Fava Mole without being a chef, without being a farmer? Possibly, yes. But I think the way you can run it today with the integrity and the way you can possibly talk to, even if you have like somebody producing it for you, you can ask them the right questions. When you have somebody selecting the fava beans for you, you can ask them the right questions. And I think that definitely strengthens you. And I think everybody has their kind of time or amount of time to dedicate to these kind of specializations. But I think definitely there's a way, like your career is kind of a proof that there is a way to be able to kind of, as you said, it's never too early. Like you started a business straight out of school, I mean, almost during your last years of culinary school. And I think that's given you definitely an edge over other companies, because if somebody listens to your career and you're only 35 and listens to all the things you've done, it's only because you have like not waited to get somebody's approval or get some years of experience to say, now it can possibly step into something else. So I think, as you said, you've been rebellious and you have not being like not stopped by the industry's question and just define your kind of question. So yeah, I think it's beautiful, and I think that shows in the product itself. This shows in the kind of mission that you've taken upon yourself. And Andres, before we close this podcast, I would like to hear from you. Think about somebody who's like maybe in your kind of stage, maybe somebody who's like you 4 years ago tried Fava Mole, it did not work out, or somebody who's kind of in the restaurant and has an idea maybe for a catering business or something similar to what you've done. What kind of advice would you give to them so that they kind of make this leap and they don't stop themselves?
Trust on yourself, because you might be closer to the breaking point than you think. This is also something that that I have realized and I have learned with experience, is that the more you fear, the more you feel the fear, the closer you are to the break point. The more afraid you are to actually doing it, that is actually the signal within your body that is telling you, let's go there. Because every time I have followed that fear, in the other side is like the most beautiful thing. But then when you are like, let's say you are in this pyramid thing, and then you're like climbing, and then you are here dancing in the edge, and then you're like almost tipping point, then you are so freaking scared. But then, because the brain works in a really funny way, that it rather have the certainty of the known than the uncertainty good of the unknown. So then it just try to go backwards. I say, no, let's just go, and just really trust and feel as it's already happening. It's not a dream anymore. Because, and then I will go a little bit into like a topic that I've been studying also lately, is like you can create your own reality. So if you don't dream or you don't think that it will happen, you behave like it already happened.
Okay.
And then once you have that, everything's possible.
Yeah, I think believing the dream, right? I think I could not frame it better the way you've said it. I think it's also like not somebody who's just picking up a quote and saying it. Like your journey, your career is a proof that this works. And I think it's a great inspiration, at least for me listening to it, and I hope for the listeners as well to listen to your story. And I hope this kind of motivation and the story that you've given with like proper proofs and proper witnesses and also the challenges, it's not all butterflies and rainbows. You've also mentioned to us how there were
Not at all.
challenges, I mean, I wish it was just
Definitely.
butterflies and rainbows.
I can tell you like a really quick challenge is just
Huh?
like also because it's like it sounds very easy, you have a success. No, we had challenges like we were almost sued by a German company because of a trademark. We made a mistake that cost us 8,000 euros, and then we had to make financial plans to be able to pay. We bootstrapped for 3 months. I used all my savings, around like 30,000, and then didn't pay my team and myself for 3 months, and then we were just already in the red, and then the money and the investor came. It's it's the moment when you're like this, just like and then it's really like a test of like how hard do you want this and how much are you willing to do to continue for it, and then boom, it happens.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, to be able to reach there, you have to believe. You have to believe that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And also, I mean, it's also equally important to know when to stop. But I think it's also important to see how much can you endure and how much, if you believe in the concept and if you believe it's something you should stand for, and if you've done the research about it, especially in your case of not just doing research but knowing exactly what you're doing. It's not just something you've seen on the internet and you're making it. So I think, yeah, it's great, beautiful advice you've given, Andres, and thank you for sharing your journey with us. I think Fava Mole and your career is a powerful reminder that chefs don't have to just stay in the kitchens. There's so much more we learn in these careers. It could be small incidents, like for you in your case was in a pop-up making this recipe out of a challenge that you had, which was to not have avocados or not want to have avocados. And this is one thing also, as chefs, we learn a lot to think on our feet, to think very quick. And it's beautiful to see how you have like showed that it's like chefs can be outside the kitchen and make a bigger impact, create some new models of food that not only feed people but feed culture, communities, and kind of this creative imagination to create products out of nowhere, out of not having something. You created something. So I will put the link to Fava Mole in the show notes, and the listeners should explore more about what it is. And yeah, this has been Fugitive Chefs. Thank you so much, Andres, for being on the podcast.
No, thank you so much for the inspiration, for the opportunity to share the story, and for the listeners, go guys, go for it. That's
Definitely.
That's my message for you.
Definitely. Thank you so much.